Now it's time to record some audio, but before we get started, we need to set up a couple of things in Ableton. So let's take a look. First of all, I want you to go up here to your system preferences, click on there, and then make sure to go to the audio tab right here. And now depending on what type of audio inputs you have, this is going to differ. If you don't have any kind of audio interface, you're most likely going to go to core audio and then to your built-in microphone in the audio input device. And if you do have an audio interface, then like here, mine's called a Fireface UC Mac. If I click on that, now that is the audio input device. And then if you've got multiple inputs, you want to go to input configuration. And here you have the option of setting up mono inputs and stereo inputs. Now, the thing you need to realize, as it states up here, is the more inputs that you select, the more CPU load your computer is going to have. So all I have set up for myself personally, I've got mono inputs 1 and 2, and then stereo inputs, I've got 1, 2, and 5 and 6. So if we go over back to Ableton, now we're going to create audio track, because up until now we only have MIDI tracks going on. So we're going to go to create, insert audio track, and here you can see the shortcut, and on Apple it's the Apple key and T. And now we have an audio track. And one of the big differences you'll see in a moment is that this is able to record audio, hence the name audio track. Now, in order to record audio, we need to select our inputs. Now, we don't do that in the preferences like I just showed you before, but we go to the InOut section of Ableton. And in case you can't see it, it's this right here, but you need to make sure that this is selected. This is the InOut Section button. So if I switch this off, you'll see now it's disappeared. And if I switch it back on, you can see the ins and outs. So the InOut section is like a patch bay within Ableton Live. And you can do all kind of really complex patching. But for our purposes right now, we're going to keep things very, very simple, because all we want to do is record some audio loops so we have some audio files to work with. First of all, you need to go into your audio track, which is this one in my Ableton Live set. And we need to select the audio from. And now if we go here, make sure it's on external in, this one. And then here, we can now select from the audio inputs that we have set up in our preferences. If you remember, I had 2 mono inputs. Here's number 1 and number 2. And I had 2 stereo inputs, 1, 2, and 5 and 6. And as you can see, my microphone is plugged in to input number 1. Hence, it shows up on the mono input. You can see the signal going up and down here on number 1. And up here, you can see the signal going up on the left-hand side of this signal input, because the left-hand side is signal 1, because this is a stereo input, sorry. And on the right-hand side, it's input number 2, and there's nothing plugged in there right now. Hence, this is only going up on the left-hand side. You can hardly see it, but here you can see it's going up the bar sticker, the green bar. So I'm going to select input number 1, because I'm going to be using this mic that I'm talking into right now. And then the other thing that you need to be aware of is this section right here, the monitoring section. And you have 3 options. But for our purposes, we're going to keep things simple. Like I said, we're just going to put this on auto. And what that means is, whilst we're recording, we'll be able to hear this input device, which is a mic in this case. And then when we play back our recording, this won't be audible anymore. The loop that we record will be audible. If that doesn't make sense right now, don't worry. It will make sense when we get down to the practical side of things. And the other thing to make sure you're on down here in audio 2, this is the output of our track. It's going to master. You have different options here, depending on how many tracks you have. Make sure this is on master, and that way everything will sound the way it's supposed to. All right, let's record some audio. I've decided I want to use this right here. This is a Tibetan singing bowl. Let me just demonstrate the type of sound it makes. I can hit it like this. But the cooler way of playing it is like this. Pretty cool, right? So I'm going to record some of this, and we're going to create a loop using Ableton. So first of all, let me see where I want to record it. I think it'll be nice to have it here in the breakdown section. So let's just play this back right now. Yeah, something like that. So I'm just going to go up here to the click section, and I'm going to have a 1-bar count in. Before you get ready to start recording, just make sure to hit the arm recording button right here. And once you do that, you are ready to start recording. So let's go for it. I'm going to hit the record button right here, and we should get a count in, and then we can record. Here we go. There we go. And as you can see down here, we now have an audio file that we just recorded. And let me just solo this and we'll play it back to see what it sounds like. And there you go. It's as simple as that to record some audio. Now, the challenge for this tutorial is for you to record some audio into your track and either do it using your internal microphone of your computer, or if you have an audio interface, use a mic. And you don't have to use a mic. You can use a guitar, whatever sound source you want, but just try to use it to record actual audio instead of MIDI trigger information as we've done so far. And in the next lesson, I'm going to show you how we can now manipulate the audio using some of the internal clip properties right here, and we'll also add some audio effects as we have done in with the MIDI tracks. I'll see you in the next lesson.